Welcome to Sport Intellect Podcast. And today we are here again with another podcast to discuss about India versus England T20i series, which was recently concluded. Oh boy, what a series did we have on our hands. And it was a clear testament to top two sides coming against each other. And the series scoreline suggested as well. It was 3-2 series. It was closely fought throughout the five T20i series and five T20i matches. And I'm so glad that India ended up winning, but we have to give credit to both the teams. It was one of those series which could be in talking points for months to come because it's a World Cup year, and also both the teams are the two favorite teams come the World Cup. And today I have here with me Jaren to discuss regarding the series. Welcome, Jaren, on the show.
Hello, Abel. Exactly. Well said. Very honestly, what a series. I mean, we've just witnessed two teams fighting it out, top two teams, and a testament to their rankings. The kind of quality cricket that we saw, and the kind of twists and turns. It was nothing short of a movie itself. I mean, the way it started off and the way it ended, a lot of differences, a lot of changes, a lot of great performances. Overall, what a great series. We're all looking forward to the World Cup year, and these two teams have justified their tags as favorites.
Yeah, indeed, and I would take a tweet from Michael Vaughan, who has said that this could be the finalists come 7 months' time, and it well looks like these two are the top two favorites for the T20 World Cup, and India being the host and England being the world number one T20 side, and 3-2 series was something for everyone to enjoy. For neutrals, it was a mouth-watering series, I would say, and we have to talk about England first up. No, we can't take away anything from them because they've been absolutely terrific in the series with the kind of template they followed and with the kind of game plans they had, and Morgan well captained their side. And yeah, first up, let's come to England. Where do you think England could have done a little better in this series?
I mean, quite frankly, I think England were outplayed by an inch. I think, but
Yeah,
just a little bit. All the three matches, I think the first two matches are very one-sided affairs, but the last three matches there I would focus on, and where you felt like the teams that won the key moments in the game are the ones who went through, and that is something that you cannot control. And I feel there's nothing that can be taken away from England. It was just pure class. Whether their batting order or their bowling attack, it's just been great. They haven't lacked anything. I suppose it's just those key moments in the game where they have let go, and India has utilized and has captured those moments. But other than that, I think England were overall a great team. They showed great class, and Owen Morgan has been a master captain for so long. He's led this revolution of white ball cricket in England, and it's still going on, and it just seems to get better.
yeah, definitely. And something which everybody is in awe of is the England's template to play T20 cricket. And the template which England has set is to attack and play the attacking brand of cricket, which has given them great results. They were unbeaten for 8 series, and yes, the series which they lost to India has been the only loss which they had in the last 8 series. And one of the things which I would like to bring up is, and also to ask you, Jaren, is whether this template of attacking brand of cricket can be followed in subcontinent, especially on some of the slow pitches. And we also saw England batsmen struggling to slower deliveries, especially when Hardik Pandya was bowling, or a Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, or even a Shardul Thakur. So can that be followed in a subcontinent on a slow or a turning wicket come the World Cup?
That's actually an interesting point because as you were talking about the attacking template that they've used throughout, I was wondering if on a slow, sluggish pitch that they might encounter quite often in India during the World Cup is something that they might have to change. The first 6 overs when the ball is new, I think it's definitely the way, and because that is where you can utilize the most, and I think that's where England will look to build on. But I suppose in the middle overs you need someone to stay there till the end. And that is something maybe they probably will have to look into. But at the same time, I think it has worked for them. And the reason for that is obviously the flat pitches that they get in England. But I think every pitch, and depending on the pitch and the situation, they have the players who can do that, who can carry the bat throughout 20 overs. So at this point, I suppose because it's a working formula and it's a winning formula, I don't think they're going to be changing it. But in my opinion, depending on the situation, if they lose like 3 wickets in the first 3 or 4 overs, then maybe then from there they can till they feel like there's a base. But as of now, I think there's no need.
Yeah. And I think, let's not forget in 2016 World Cup, which was held in India, England were the finalists, and barring that brilliance from Carlos Brathwaite in the final over, they could have probably clinched the T20I World Cup as well. And if you look at their games which they played in India in that 2016 World Cup, and they almost had a similar squad. And their template was set, the attacking plan of cricket. And if you look at the semi-final which they came up against New Zealand, they went chasing 160 odd on a sluggish wicket in Firozshah Courtland, and that template did work for them there. And even in the final against West Indies, they had a terrific game, barring that final over by Ben Stokes, which Carlos Brathwaite absolutely pulled off one of the best finishes in T20I histories. And I would say, it has worked brilliantly for them, and I think that they will continue playing with this template. And even in this series, it worked well for them, except maybe I would say that key moments, as you mentioned, they couldn't really capitalize on it. And we have to talk about the pace bowling battery of England, and it has done really good for them in this series. And Mark Wood and Jofra Archer, do you think these two will be their key pacemen come the World Cup?
Yeah, definitely. Mark Wood, I think, is a testament to how well he's managed himself and his physique. I mean, he was a bowler who came in with a lot of talent, but he would get injured quite often. I think Mark Wood's now worked on it, and he's generating some serious pace. And with that hint of moment, he's creating a lot of problems.
Yeah,
Especially because when you have someone like Jofra Archer, credits to him, batsmen are obviously going to be looking to target Mark Wood, and anyone would come under that pressure, but Mark Wood's remained calm. He's done a great job for them. In fact, the one game where he just derailed the Indian top order shows the acumen that he possesses as a fast bowler. And Jofra Archer, obviously, he has serious pace, and he's a threat anywhere in the world, even on sluggish pitches, if in case England ever encounter that. And he has got everything in his arsenal, from a searing fast toe crusher to a very good short ball and a very, very good, well disguised slower ball. So he's a
mm,
package, and he's a very good package. Mark Wood sometimes tends to go for runs, like on. There are a lot of days where he tends to go for a lot of runs, but he's a wicket taking bowler, and that is something is needed in T20I, because in a T20I where you have a short span of just 120 balls, wickets are much more effective than a dot ball, and I think
yeah.
that's where Mark Wood is very handy.
Let's not forget to mention Adil Rashid, and what a series did he have? And he was brilliant in the power play. It's one of the toughest overs for a spinner to ball up front in the power play, and he did his job magnificently in the power play. And whenever Morgan wanted a wicket, or whenever Morgan wanted to, really control the rate, he went to Rashid, and he really did ball well. What do you reckon about Rashid in this series? It was brilliant.
Rashid, I mean, Adil Rashid's a great leg spinner. I mean, the reason why I say so is because there are obviously two kinds of spinners nowadays in the T20I era, where there's one, the kind like Washington Sundar, who's more inclined to stop runs and not get wickets. And I mean, he does get wickets, but my point is he looks to try and get
Yeah,
stop runs, while there are bowlers like Yuzvendra Chahal who try and get wickets, and it's okay if they go for a few runs. But Adil Rashid can switch between those roles, and that's what's
yeah,
really key for England. You see Adil Rashid bowling one over where he comes and he gives the ball a lot of air, looking for wickets. And at the same time, you see him coming the very next over and bowling very, very short, very, very fast balls, which will like hit the top of the off. And
yeah.
that kind of change up in his bowling and that kind of variety is what makes Adil Rashid a great, great bowler in the white ball cricket, in the with white ball cricket. And that is something that has really helped Owen Morgan. Like when his paces are going for runs, he can bring in Adil Rashid. And England's really needed that. England's not had a spinner for a long time since the exit of Graham Swan, and Adil Rashid's really filled in those boots, and he's actually making a legacy for himself.
Correct. And do you reckon England were a spinner short in this series, considering some of the wickets did offer turn, and some of the wickets were a little on the slower and two pace side? Maybe England could have played more in early, couldn't they have?
That is a quagmire, right? Where a lot of English cricketers are now questioning the rotation policy, and that's the reason why Owen Morgan's missing out this series as he's at home now due to the rotation policy. And I guess so. I feel like in India, where you cannot go on with a squad where you don't have another spinner in. In England, it's understandable where there are flatter tracks, but in India, you never know when another spinner can come in, and that is something. If you look at the Indian squad itself, you see a lot of players who are adept at bowling spin, and the reason for that is because Indian pitches offer that kind of turn and that kind of sluggishness that helps spinner, especially on a lot of grounds that might come into play in the T20I. So I felt yes, England did need a spinner, and especially someone like Moeen Ali could be a very good asset, given the fact that he can play as a batsman as well.
I think England selectors and team management will be looking at Moeen Ali closely in the IPL, as he'll be playing for Chennai Super Kings, and his performance will really take into account as to how they will prepare for the T20 World Cup. And that's one of the reasons why England were, pretty much, they were like arguing for playing in the IPL, this especially this year. They really wanted their players to play in the IPL, get that exposure in those wickets in India, and also prepare themselves so that they can have a exact combination. They can have a combination in mind come the World Cup later this year. Now let's go to India. India has been one of the teams which were criticized for the templates which they follow in T20 cricket. I say this because many experts came out saying that they were pretty outdated in the way they play T20 cricket, because they took their time, and initially they took their time in middle overs. They were a little slow, and in the end they looked to attack. But in this series we saw a different template followed by India. And firstly, before we go into that, we have to talk about one of the biggest positives coming out of the series, which is Hardik Pandya's bowling. And it was a great sight to see Hardik coming in and bowling in full throttle, bowling with good pace, and also he was able to contribute with the ball and a great impact. So, what do you reckon about Hardik Pandya's bowling this series?
Yeah, Hardik Pandya is definitely someone who adds an edge to the team when he's bowling. I think the one huge testament for that is when 2016 World Cup, when India pulled off that win against Bangladesh, where he bowled the last over and he bowled it brilliantly. And that is the kind of effect that he brings to the team. And he's in the team, you always have that extra pacer and that extra batsman. And we have been missing him in action with the bowling due to his injuries. But I think it's great to see him back. And he performed really well. He bowled some key overs for India, caught some key wickets, and that's exactly how Hardik Pandya has operated. And it's good
Yeah.
to see him bowling at 100%, and that's a very good news coming into the World Cup for India.
Exactly, and good to see him also fine tune his action a little bit, as he said yesterday. He had a little bit of issues with his action previously, where it was putting in a lot of load into his back, and that's one of the reasons why he got a back surgery done as well, where he had a breakdown in 2019 post the World Cup. So Hardik back to his bowling gives balance into the squad, and great. India now the Indian skipper can use Hardik whenever he needs, and if India are going to play with six bowlers, it's a luxury for India, because Hardik can be used as a pacer, as a third pacer, or as also a bowler who can come in and fill that job for a bowler who's having an off day. So it's great to see Hardik back into his bowling, and it'll only help India, come them following games. Talking about Hardik's bowling, one of the bowler who has really impressed throughout the series was Shardul Thakur. He was a game changer for India in the 4 T20, or also in 5 T20. If you look, whenever the captain handed over the ball to him, he was ready to come out there and fight it out and pick those crucial wickets. What is it about Shardul Thakur? He's got the fight in him, isn't he?
Yeah, just when I talked about the key moments that England lost to India, Shardul Thakur was in all those key moments.
Yeah,
Uh, he is just that kind of, he's got that knack of doing well. And I just don't mean with the ball, I mean with the bat as well. He's got the fight in him, as you mentioned, and he never gives up. And that is something that's really helped him. I think he's had a revolution when he's played under Dhoni for CSK. This is the kind of role he plays for CSK. Comes in Dhoni whenever he's looking for wicket, he gives it to Shardul Thakur. And it's been a revolution in how he's changed. When he came onto the scene, he was much more of a hit the deck, your red ball bowler. He's
yeah,
changed himself. He's brought in a lot of variety in his bowling, especially the knuckle ball and the change of pace that he brings in. And
yeah,
he's a very handy batsman lower down the order. In fact, when Hardik Pandya was not at his full, you could always look at Shardul Thakur as a bowling all-rounder who
yeah,
can get
correct.
you that 20 in those 5, 6 deliveries, come and play a cameo. And at the same time, those double wickets that he took, I think it was a four T20I where he took double wickets, he derailed England. Same thing he did in the fifth T20I as well. And those are the key moments that England lost to. And a very, very good reason why India is has 3 matches under the belt is because of Shardul Thakur and his bowling.
Terrific from Charles Thakur, I would say, because he has got that fight in him, and you can see it. Maybe he wouldn't probably start in the T20I World Cup, or will he? Because we will have Mohammad Shami, we'll have Natarajan, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Bumrah, not to forget, and maybe he's not a sure starter, but still, he's an asset for India in the bench, isn't he?
Someone like Shardul Thakur missing out is a very, very big blow for him and his confidence. But I suppose that is the true nature of Indian cricket, where you have to hope for chances, and he's grabbed the chances he's got. You might see him come into play on days where India is looking to rotate its squad if they want to, maybe against a lesser team. And
Yeah,
obviously, if an injury or a niggle comes to the main bowlers, that, as you mentioned, maybe Mohammad Shami or Bumrah is definitely the next best person to replace any bowler. And
yeah,
you might see him on days, I think, where India is looking for balance. Maybe if India feels the need to add an extra batsman lower down the order, you might see
yeah.
him coming. But other than that, you're right. I don't see him in the first 11, probably the first match. But during duration of the tournament, there is definitely a chance he might play.
Great asset for Indian cricket, I would say. And great news that India's bench strength is again growing with days and days. And now we have to come to the bowler for me and who really won the game for India in the 50-20, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. He has had his injuries. He was out of the side for a very long time. He was India's go-to bowler a couple of years back, and he lost his place in the side due to injuries. He had to come back. He had to recover. And again, he got injured amidst the IPL in 2020, and now he's back, and he's back in a great fashion, I would say, because the 50-20 performance is a testament to how great a bowler he is. He's skillful. He's got the slower balls in him. He can ball in the death. He can ball in the power play. And India had that problems of picking up wickets up front when Bhuvaneshwar was in there, and now he's back, and India is back again in picking up wickets in the power play. And great to see him, isn't he?
It is. In fact, Bhuvneshwar Kumar is one of those cricketers whom you feel for as a fan, because you know he comes in, he puts in the efforts. He's been India's hero on numerous occasions, and you feel for him and his career. He's been a great bowler. Whenever he's turned up, he's put in his 100%. He's done well for India. It's been the injuries that have put him down, and that have not made him the cricketer that he could be. And it's great to see him. It's great to see that he's not given up. He's coming. Whenever he's fit, whenever he's able to do it, he comes in, he puts in these performances. And you're right, what a baller he is with a new ball. Whenever you see him there's a hint of a moment, he's able to create such problems for batsmen, and you don't see many maiden overs in
Yeah,
T20I now. And but when Bhuvneshwar Kumar is playing, you know that he's capable of dotting away batsmen and putting the pressure on the batsman to score from on the other end. And you saw the way he balled to Jason Roy.
yeah.
It's not easy to keep him quiet, but the way he's able to move the ball around, and that puts the doubt right in the batsman's mind. And I think one of the performances that I really loved about him was come the IPL, where he would come in, he would ball in maiden overs, put in the pressure, and that is something that helps, and that is something that gets you wickets up front.
Yeah, exactly. And you cannot take away anything from Bhuvaneshwar Kumar because he was missed in Indian T20 and ODI setup for a very long time now. Great to see him back. I hope he stays fit. And if he is fit alongside Bumrah and Shami, India looks to be a very potent attack come the World Cup. And that's one of the reasons why India are strong favorites in the World Cup this year. Now we have to talk about the two debutants in this series. And this series was all about youngsters coming into the fore in the with the likes of Ishan Kishan, Surya Kumar Yadav, and boy didn't they perform well when they got their chance. Ishan Kishan, we all know he has his capacity to play in any position. He has done that in IPL. He could play at 4, he could play at 5, he can open the batting, he can also keep wickets. And oh man, what a debut for him.
um, Finally, right? These two cricketers had it coming for so long, and we all hope to see them in India colors for so long. I think now we have a Mumbai Indians middle order,
Yeah,
and it's actually great to see. Ishan Kishan, great player. I think one very good thing for Indian cricket now is the fact that many settled Indian players follow the template that you mentioned previously, where you take time and you play. But someone like Ishan Kishan is a kind of player who's fearless.
Yeah,
ball one, you need one ball 6 runs to win. You can count on Ishan Kishan to actually hit that. And
yeah,
that is exactly the kind of batsman that Ishan Kishan is. He puts fear back into the bowler's eyes, and he's coming against some very seasoned cricketers from England, and he's showed no problem. He's adjusted to international cricket like fish to water.
yeah, exactly. And do you reckon he is a third opener for India come the World Cup?
I think he's a third choice for every position in the batting order. Very
Yeah,
honestly, from opening to a finisher, maybe if need be, he can be there. He can do that, and his temperament and the fearlessness when he bats is exactly the kind of fresh air that Indian batting order needed. And the transition from that, the much more cautious approach to the aggressive approach, someone like Ishan Kishan can really help. And I think he's definitely someone whom look forward to watching him play in the World T20i.
and what it has done is that he has gone past Dhawan in the pecking order, and Dhawan has been a seasoned cricketer for India, and he has done terrifically well throughout the last few years. And his performances and his template, which he has followed, Ishan Kishan's template, which I'm talking about, has really put Dhawan behind in the pecking order. And don't you do you how do you think that going? You can say it's unfair on Dhawan because he's had a terrific IPL, and if he has one more good IPL, people would definitely want him to be in the squad. But that Ishan Kishan's template is something which India is looking at currently.
True. I just feel I have to. I mean, you gotta feel bad for that. And he's done well. It's not his bad performances that have kept him out of the team. It's the performances of others who have been much better, and and that is what's helping. I think you gotta feel bad for Dhawan. You might not even if Ishan Kishan even has an average IPL according to his standards, you might actually see Ishan Kishan being in the squad. While Dhawan needs to have an extraordinary IPL, and that is a lot of pressure to be put on a good cricketer.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, as they say, and we have to talk. We have to give credit to Ishan Kishan for grabbing his opportunity, and he is a versatile cricketer. He can keep wickets as well, so he's a second choice keeper in the World Cup for sure. And now we have to talk about the man, Sky, and boy, didn't he start off his international batting appearance with a brilliant six, which he skied it over fine leg for. And whom did he sky it? And he skied Jofra Archer, who was rated as one of the best bowlers in the world. And what do you have to tell about him?
It's just the way he makes mockery out of the ballers. There are bowlers who are bowling so fast that probably we can see it on television, the ball traveling, and this guy just laps them over fine leg, and he's pulling them everywhere. It's ridiculous, very honestly. And he it's just this dream come true moment, right?
Yeah,
He's earned it. He has had to grit it through domestic cricket. He's had to perform. He's knocked the door down on selectors,
yeah.
and there was no way that he could not be selected, and it was getting so much tougher for selectors to not select him anymore. And that's exactly how you earn it in Indian cricket. It's tough. There's a billion people out there. You need to be one of the 11, and he's earned it. And it's great to see him finally make it on the big stage.
I mean, you have to give credit to selectors for selecting him because he deserved the selection even long ago, even in Australian series where he was not picked. People did come out saying that it was unfair on him, and good to see selectors thinking in a different way. They're looking at X factor cricketers, and he is a 360-degree player, and he showed it. And he can play all around the park. He was literally dominating the bowling. He didn't look like he was making his debut in the series. He just looked like another game he was playing for Mumbai or for Mumbai Indians because that's the kind of cricketer Surya Kumar Yadav is. And his experience of playing in T20 cricket did come to help for India in this series. And he has got that ability to switch gears. He can play the anchor role. He can play the attacking X factor role as well. So he's a great addition to squad, isn't he?
Definitely, exuberance of youth, and that is showing, isn't it? He's just that kind of guy who can play at any angle, any gear, and that helps India a lot because that's the kind of batsman that India are looking at. And it's just, I mean, I just don't want to be a selector now at this point because there's so many players to look at, and Surya Kumar Yadav's just pushed him, I've been pushed everyone around. He's shown that he's of a higher class and he deserves where he is right now. And I really hope that he continues to do so, and he becomes a full-time member of the Indian team, and he has every right to be so.
Correct, correct. And talking about Surya Kumar Yadav, we have to talk also about Shreyas Iyer. He was used out of his batting position, I would say, because he's someone who bats at the top of the order for his state team and also for his franchise team. So, what do you really think is Shreyas Iyer's ideal position, and how well did he perform? Given the circumstances, he was played at number 6, he was played at number 5, and in the first match, he came under pressure and played a brilliant knock of 79 odd. So, we have to talk about Shreyas Iyer.
It's a packed middle order. It's very, very tough to say where to play him. For me, I think now India has like a lot of floaters. You have Rishabh Pant, then you have Suryakumar Yadav, Ishan Kishan, as you mentioned. Shreyas Iyer is one of them because he can play at so many gears. He's not played badly at the role that he's given. He's played well, and I think that is something that Shreyas Iyer will now have to get used to the fact that you won't know what India's batting order is now because they've got such versatile batters up there. Like
Yeah,
someone like Kohli and Rohit, you know that they're going to be at the top of the order, but now these are the players who are like your wild cards.
yeah,
You can you can put them anywhere. You can put them anywhere and they'll fit perfectly. I think Shreyas Iyer is one of them. He's one very good thing about him is his temperament. He's got such a calm head.
yeah,
And I think you get that. You get that being the youngest captain in IPL once upon a time. And that is exactly where he's channeling it. So he knows how to play the game at that particular point of time because he's captained a team. And that is
yeah.
what IPL gives you. And you saw that kind of temperament because he was someone who anchored the innings. And at the same time, he can be someone who can come and just destroy a bowling attack.
Correct. And Shreyas Iyer, we have to give credit to him. He was terrific in the series. He batted out of his position, but he did deliver for India when it required the most for Indian team. And we have to talk about the man of the series, the skipper himself, Virat Kohli. There were talks about him being out of form, but that one knock did change everything. Everyone were talking about that one knock, and it came at when India needed it the most. And after that, it just looked like he was in another level. How good was Virat in this series? We really don't have to talk a lot about him, but then how good was he again?
I think Virat Kohli is one of those, probably the eighth wonder in the world where when he's playing red ball cricket, you are like, he is a pure test batsman. And when he
Yeah,
plays ODI, you think he's a pure ODI batsman. But when you see him play T20i, like the innings he played yesterday, you wonder what exactly. Like he is out of this world. He fits in so well at whatever role he's supposed to play. I mean, yesterday he just took the game away from England. And India, the reason why India scored 225 was because of his knock, which was not only anchoring India's. It was not just an anchor to the innings. It was a wind that pushed India through to 200. And Virat Kohli is just that kind of batsman. We just every single time he walks out on the pitch, we are just awestruck because
yeah,
he pulls something out of his hat and we do not see it coming. And the way he plays, the timing, even the most aggressive shot that Virat Kohli plays is an example of amazing timing, and that's something that Virat Kohli brings into the team. Every shot he plays, he looks so assured,
yeah,
and it's not just. I think Kohli has not just developed as a batsman; he's also developed as a captain.
yeah,
And one huge thing that I've seen in Kohli as his character is he's grown as in character. I mean, he's a lot. I mean, one masterstroke that he did was where he allowed Rohit Sharma to now start giving. I mean, giving. So now it was like India being captained by two players,
yeah,
and that is something that is very, very selfless. I think another thing that I really noticed in him was where he gave the trophy to Ishan Kishan and the youngsters in the team. He
yeah,
stood in the corner, very Dhoni-esque example, and I think
yeah,
he is growing as a character, and that is helping Indian cricket team. Now, Virat Kohli is not just in your face; he's in your face with everyone behind him. So now
yeah.
that unity that he's bringing into the team, um, the change in character that he's brought in, and that calmness now that has come into the ice that is added to his fire is really helping the Indian cricket team.
Yeah, and that's showing the results as well. This is the eighth consecutive series on the trot. We have been unbeaten, and he has got he was criticized for his tactical errors previously, but now with the leadership group around him, Rohit Sharma, we have someone like Shreyas Iyer, who's also a captain of a franchise team, KL Rahul. This really helps. Ultimately for a proper team to be built, and he is a leader, and he leads by example, and he thrives on that. and he has set their fitness trend, and he has set certain examples for other players to follow. And now the way in which the things are shaping up, he will be India's opener. Do you reckon that come the T20 World Cup, we are going to have Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli opening the batting?
Yeah, I definitely see it now. The reason I say so is because He's a Virat Kohli 120 balls is probably what need to give him.
Yeah.
T20i, I suppose. T20i, the
Just
philosophy
to
is
stop you there,
completely opposite.
he has done that in 2016 as well for the IPL, and what a year did he have? So just to add that.
Yeah, true. He still holds the record for that, the amount of runs he scored in that series. And Bangalore performed the best in that series, in that particular tournament, that particular edition of the tournament. And you're right.
Yeah.
The reason I feel so is because now Kohli does not need to anchor the middle order because India's middle order is packed. And that, I feel that is what's helping him play the innings he played yesterday. Because now Kohli has that little bit of more freedom where before where Kohli was supposed to be the anchor of the Indian cricket team, where the Indian batting order, he's supposed to be the one who's supposed to play a longer innings.
Yeah.
Now you have players who can do that. So now he's
Yeah.
playing with that edge of freedom. And
Correct.
that I feel is the reason why Kohli and Rohit should open, because one huge factor with Kohli and Rohit both is the fact that they can switch gears. So if one of them is going at full throttle, the other person can just play second fiddle. And the moment the dynamics change, they are always ready to take up the other's role. So that will help. And this is a very potent very potent opening pair. And I would like to see this pair actually be going forward. I know KL Rahul and Shikhar Dhawan, and there are others who are there to take the spot. But I feel this is India's shot at best batting order.
Yeah, I think so now, because with Surya Kumar Yadav coming into the fore, and also now the middle order looking much more settled, I think Rohit and Virat should open, and that gives a perfect balance to the side. And now we'll also have someone like Jadeja coming into the side for the World Cup. So the Indian batting order will be very deep, and they can play with freedom, and that gives India the best shot at the World Cup, I believe. And as you correctly mentioned, yesterday's innings, we saw Rohit playing that aggressor, Kohli playing the second fiddle, and when Surya came in, he still continued to be the anchor. And in the end, Kohli was able to finish things up, as he is known to do it. But that really helps. And ultimately, we have to talk about this team's habit of making comebacks. We did discuss about it on our preview show, and yet again they've done it. Oh man! Now every time India loses a match, we know they're going to come back.
And I think the best part about it is it sometimes feels like the way India comes back. It sometimes feels like India goes into the first match being okay losing or winning, because at the end of the day they feel whatever come in that match, it's in the past and they can always make up for it. And that's great. I think it shows the character of the team, the support staff, and the kind of dressing room environment where you have the kind of environment where you feel now. There are environments where there are dressing rooms that we have seen where the first match is lost and the series is just goes out of hand. And the way England won the first match, it gave India some shudders, because England performed really well. But from there, coming back from there and showing the kind of performance that they have, it shows the character of the team. And I hope that this is the trend going forward. And this is something that you need. This character is what you need to get through those final hurdles of semi-final and final.
And this is not the first time we're seeing India being dominated in the first game. We saw it in Australia where India was battered. We saw it in the first test match against England where India was again dominated by England, and India made a terrific comeback. And yet again, India was just able to score 124 in the first T20. Yet again, India made that comeback. And India were trailing 2-1 in the series this time around. And India made it 3-2. And this is becoming a habit for them. And that's great side. It shows the leadership group has been working together and every player is feeling confident. And I really don't think, people should really dwell into what every confidence of each player is, because, every player who's getting an opportunity is coming and performing. So that, which means that every player is feeling confident, and they've all been told that, whenever you get an opportunity, just go out there and play freely. And that really helps. And, that's the kind of team which you want. And that's one of the primary reasons why India are the favorites come the T20 World Cup. And what do you think are the biggest takeaways in the series for India, and where do you think India should be improving?
To add to what you added before, I think 124 to 224 shows India's character, doesn't it?
Yeah,
what a change from first T20I to the last T20I. Also, I think where now from here, I think this has been like the perfect series for India,
Yeah,
where they got a very good opponent.
yeah,
They overcame challenges, they overcame hurdles. At
yeah.
whenever a problem presented itself, India found a solution. I think all India needs to do from here is to keep going. But there's obviously, I think the first T20I where found out was them not being able to manage the problem of plenty, and I think that is where India needs to maybe improve a little, where they need to focus on horses for courses. And other than that, I think that is probably a minor observation. I think other than that, India's had a perfect series where they overcame a lot of hurdles and they overcame them very well. And there was each player presented a solution to one problem that India has faced in the past. And I think if this unit can keep going the way they have, there's no way that they can be stopped.
And mind you, this was not India's best bowling attack, which was put out in the park. But this was India's second string bowling attack, we can say, because Bumrah was missing, Shami wasn't there, Natarajan and Bhuvi, just came. Bhuvi is making his comeback series, and Natarajan just played in one match. So, we could say that, and also Jadeja was missing. So we can say that, once India puts out their full strength side, India will look like a really, really strong unit. And it's going to be exciting to see how Indian team shapes up for the World Cup. And if there are going to be series, or if there are going to be matches which India will play before the World Cup, we could see what will that final 11 look like come the World Cup. And with that said, we are coming to an end of this podcast. Thank you for joining us. We will come back after the ODI series and before the IPL, just to do a preview on the teams once again. And we will continue to do weekly reviews of the IPL as well. So thank you for joining us once again. With that said, bye bye.